everybody. My name is Jane Pierce, and I'm a former teacher in the Hawkins County school system. Specifically, I taught here at Cherokee High School beginning in 1980, when Cherokee opened as Cherokee Comprehensive High School. I taught French and English until 2011 when I retired. It's great to be back here at Cherokee. Go Chiefs! Throughout my career here at Cherokee, I made lots of lasting friendships and wonderful relationships with both my colleagues and my students. But one special student comes to my mind today, and that student is Missy Testerman. In 1986, Missy entered my French classroom, and it didn't take me long to know that she was destined for great things. Academically, she was among the best. Personally, she was kind, humble, compassionate, curious, and fun-loving. But not only did I have Missy as my student, she was also my student aide. Back in 1980, Cherokee was on a 6-period day, and if a student was in good standing academically and wanted to work for a teacher, that student could do that and instead of taking perhaps study hall. So Missy came to me and asked if she could be my student helper. And of course I said yes, and lucky me. During those daily one-on-ones with Missy, we did all things teacher related, and we bonded. And again, I knew she was destined for great things. I lost touch with Missy a little while when she went off to college, but I was excited to learn that she had chosen teaching as her career. I was also glad to hear that she was hired by Rogersville City School. But Hawkins County school system, let's not forget, Missy Testerman is one of our own. Now let's fast forward to April 13, 2024, on the CBS morning show. I, like many of you, anxiously awaited the announcement, and soon we heard 2024 National Teacher of the Year, Missy Testerman. How proud we are of you, Missy. You've brought honor and respect to our state, to our community, to Hawkins County schools, but most especially to our profession. While at the same time, you brought a love of learning to your students. So as the French would say, félicitations et bonne chance. Congratulations and good luck as you travel our nation this next year, being our standard bearer for excellence in the classroom and also a champion for teachers. And may you know that we here back home in rural East Tennessee, in the county of Hawkins, in the city of Rogersville, we pray for you, we support you, and we love you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kendall Fields, and I'm a recent 2024 graduate from Cherokee High School. Starting this fall, I will begin my college journey at the University of Tennessee as the Distinguished Tennessean Scholar Representative for Hawkins County. Achieving this accomplishment has been a lifelong dream for me, but I could not have done it without my family and the amazing teachers I have had over the years at Rogersville City School and Cherokee High School. As a daughter of a teacher, I know just how much love for children and dedication is required to pursue teaching as a career. For most of you, the school building is like your second home, and the students are like your second family because of the long hours spent in the classroom each day. It takes a special type of person to be a teacher, and I want to thank each one of you for choosing to spend the majority of your life helping children grow and learn while shaping them into the adults they will one day become. I especially want to thank the teachers that I was fortunate to have over the years. Although we only spent one short year together, each one of you helped shape me into the person I am today, and I could never thank you all enough for that. I want to recognize a particular teacher who has achieved something historic, not only for Hawkins County, but also for the entire United States, and that is Missy Testerman. All of you know that Missy has accomplished becoming the 2023 Tennessee Teacher of the Year and the 2024 National Teacher of the Year. Many of you know her for those awards, but personally, I know her as a mentor, role model, lifelong family friend, and last but certainly not least, my second grade teacher. Something I remember very fondly is sitting on her rug in her classroom every day and reading chapter books. Although reading was helping us grow academically, which, don't get me wrong, was very important, what I value the most is the life lessons I was able to learn as a second grader in Miss Testerman's class. She taught me to be a leader, to help others, and to work hard at everything I do. She was the type of person I wanted to be like when I grew up because I could see what a kind-hearted, intelligent, and hard-working woman she was. And she continues to be someone I look up to still to this day. The impact she made on me as a little 8-year-old girl is just as big as the impact she has made in our community and our country this past year. Something I will never forget is at the end of my second grade school year, I asked if she would sign my yearbook. And one of the things she wrote was, "I'm so glad that I was lucky enough to be your teacher." Miss Testerman's words made me feel valued as a student, and that is something I will never forget. While I'm just one of the hundreds she has taught over the years, I'm confident that many other students could share their own stories about the large impact she has made on them as well. Miss Testerman may have thought that she was lucky to have me as a student, but I was even more fortunate to have her as a teacher. I would also like to share a little information about Missy herself. For those of you that may not know, she is a lifelong Rogersville resident who attended Hawkins County schools her entire K-12 educational journey, graduating from Cherokee High School in 1988. She is a first-generation college graduate, receiving a bachelor's degree in elementary education from ETSU, as well as a master's degree in reading education. She taught first and second grades at Rogersville City School for 30 years before adding an endorsement to teach English as a second language through the Tennessee Department of Education's Grow Your Own program. Since 2022, she has served as the ESL teacher and program director at RCS, where she also coordinates their summer camp program. As I mentioned earlier, she was named the Tennessee Teacher of the Year in August of 2023 and the 2024 National Teacher of the Year in April of 2024. Missy will spend this school year traveling across the country advocating for America's teachers and public school students. Please join me in welcoming the 2024 National Teacher of the Year, Missy Testerman.
Sweet Kendall, every single one of you, to Erica Phillips, who asked me to be here this morning and then set me up by assuring me that Kendall was here because she was being recognized for being a scholarship winner at the University of Tennessee. I was telling people earlier that I've spoken to crowds of thousands of people, and I managed never to cry. That was my greatest fear today, and it happened even before I got up here. So thank you for working that out, that we established that. But I appreciate Mrs. Pierce's kind words and her guidance in my life, and having Kendall Fields in your classroom, for those of you who got to do that, was an absolute joy. I'm very honored and humbled to be here today. I have taught inside this county for 32 years, and this is my very first Hawkins County Schools in service. We had always wondered at RCS what you guys do. We see the videos, and so we hatched a plan. We were going to come over and infiltrate it and find out. But when I got here this morning, I saw that there were some people who had already crossed over to find out. I was at RCS's in-service yesterday, and some of your people have crossed over to there. It kind of makes me think that maybe during the summer that Director Hickson and Director Jarnigan from RCS just kind of get together, and Director Hickson says, hey, I need a librarian, like maybe a middle school one. And Director Jarnigan says, well, okay, but we need a middle school social studies teacher. And they're just out here in the summer doing a prisoner swap. I can tell you that you being here today is a real stressor for the teachers at RCS. They are probably about now plotting how to get out early for lunch, because the thought of you guys beating us to the best lunch places is absolutely horrifying. In all seriousness, I told Matt Hickson back in April when he reached out to congratulate me after being named the National Teacher of the Year that I was a proud K-12 graduate of Hawkins County Schools, and I meant that. It was in a Hawkins County classroom where I, as a 5-year-old, fell in love with the learning and teaching process. And it was a Hawkins County teacher at Hawkins Elementary, Mrs. Reimer, who way back in the 1900s, when I was in 2nd grade, told me that if I wanted to be a teacher, all I had to do was grow up and go to college. I had never even heard of the concept of college in my 7-year-old world, but I learned that if I wanted to be a teacher, I needed to go to college. The sad reality is that even today, in 2024 in our county, we have students who still do not truly understand the concept of college because no one in their family has done that before. If you teach elementary or middle school, you could very well be the very first person to plant that seed in their mind until that idea grows and grows and grows, and that child grows up and is a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a nurse, or a teacher. If you're a high school teacher, you undoubtedly have kids sitting in your classes that you know could succeed in post-secondary education. But they may be fighting a battle where the people in their home want them to graduate and to get a full-time job because they don't understand that a child who spends 2 years at TTAC or earns a 4-year degree has the ability to make more money throughout his or her lifetime to enable them to have a better standard of living. You could be the catalyst that tells that kid, I believe in you, and I think that you can do it. Mrs. Pierce was one of those people for me. She may have thought I wasn't listening in our lunch conversations every single day, but I was. She had faith in me, and her faith in me meant that there was no way I was going to let her down. That is the unbelievable power that each one of us sitting in this room has. No matter what your role is in this school system, you have the power to show a child what he or she has the ability to be, even when that child is not able to see it. Being from Rogersville in Hawkins County, Tennessee, I can promise you that I never had being the National Teacher of the Year on my adult bingo card. I can also confide in you that a lot of you may not know, I almost did not make it through the very intense process. So when they're choosing the National Teacher of the Year, they select 4 finalists. They fly those 4 finalists to Washington, D.C. for a 2-day, very, very long interview process. The first day consists of meeting with legislators and lawmakers on Capitol Hill and also doing lots of media interviews. It was a 16-hour day. Even before I got there, I really didn't feel like I belonged. The other 3 finalists were all from large urban areas, and they all taught in very affluent school systems. The things that they teach blow us away. Drone technology and ocean exploration, Holocaust studies, and music technology in an in-school recording studio where students can make their own soundtrack. I was already wondering why in the world I was there. The first day was really, really brutal. By the time I got back to my hotel room, it was almost midnight. And my husband called to see how the day had gone, and I said to him, I'm ready to fly home. I don't think I want to do this. He assured me, because he's lived with me 32 years, that I was tired and that I just needed sleep. So the next morning, I got up and he'd sent that very sweet good morning text, hope you have a great day, to which I totally ruined the effect of by saying, I don't think I'm going to do this. So immediately he called me, and what he said to me was this: you are the only person up there who can tell what it's like to teach in a rural school system. You're the only person from a rural area. You're the only person who can tell what life is like for a teacher in Rogersville, Tennessee. For whatever reason, that flipped a switch in me, and I kept hearing that in my head. You are the only finalist from a rural area, and it's true. It's very, very rare from the National Teacher of the Year to be from a rural area. Almost always they're from a large urban system. So the day before, we had drawn sticks to see what time our interview would be. There were 3 times in the morning before lunch, and there was one in the afternoon that I considered to be the absolute death blow. Guess which one I had drawn? I really was beginning to think it was a sign from the Lord that day. But I went on to the interview, and that interview was going to be a 20-minute keynote, much like I'm doing with you today, a 15-minute mock press interview where you're fired questions as if you've done an interview and the media is coming for you, and 16 individual interviews with the selection committee. But whenever I got in that room, what came out wasn't the fact that I thought that morning I was going to quit, because I'm usually not the person who says they're going to quit. I will beat a dead horse over and over and over just so I can mark off the list that I've beaten the dead horse. But when I came out of the hotel to walk over that morning, there was really heavy rain like we've been having the past couple of days, the rains we call gully washers. And under the awning of the hotel, there were probably 25 to 30 young people huddled under the awning. So the doorman kind of helped me get out of the doorway, and he explained that those young people lived in a public housing project right near my hotel, and that they were coming to catch the bus to go downtown to American University in D.C., which is a college. So whenever I got in the room with the selection committee, I told them that if you live where I do, in Rogersville or Bulls Gap or Scornsville or Churchill or Mount Carmel or Morrisburg or on the side of Clinch Mountain, there is no bus that comes and takes you to college. There's no subway you can go to catch. If you live in Rogersville, Tennessee, and you don't have a car, you might be able to take online classes provided that you have a good computer and adequate internet, but your options are stifled. A lot of times I hear when I talk to former students, I'm going to work for a year and save money and then I'll go to school. Well, the problem is if you're a child from an impoverished background and you don't have a car, If you can't get to a job, you're not going to make any money to get to a car, and then pretty soon you are stuck in the same place where you're probably not going to be able to travel out of your whole life. And I see you guys shaking heads because I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's generational poverty. But I will tell you from traveling across this country, when most people hear generational poverty, they don't think of our kids. They think automatically of kids living in an urban, inner city housing project. They don't think of the kids that we see who come to school and need clothing and need shoes. They don't understand that when you teach in a rural area, you're more than the teacher. You are the lifeline. You send snacks and clothing home. You take care of needs that kids have. If you coach and you have a kid who comes out and they don't have the equipment you need, you don't turn that kid away. You do whatever it takes to make sure that that kid is able to participate. So my friends, we are more than teachers. We are an absolute lifeline to our students, and it can't be understated what we do. In Hawkins County, we don't have Apple and Google that's going to come in and set up a STEM lab. We don't have ExxonMobil that's going to send our kids on a field trip to Antarctica to study penguins. And we don't have sponsors who are going to send our kids to Washington, D.C. for a whole week, totally expense paid. We most certainly do not have Snoop Dogg who comes in to help our kids record a soundtrack, although that would be cool. But what we do have in this county is even greater than that. We have each one of you and the heart that you bring for children to school with you every single day. I told the selection committee of how in our area we struggle to employ teachers because a lot of times more affluent systems come in, they're able to recruit our teachers away. I heard Mr. Hickson talk about that this morning. So all of the energy and resources that you and I have invested in as colleagues into helping teachers become really effective sometimes gets heavy when that person leaves. I told the selection committee that when you teach in a place like Rogersville, Tennessee, it is a mission, and it's only due because people are devoted to these students. Alita Gladson had passed away the day before this portion of the interview. I was actually on Capitol Hill when I got the text about that tragic accident. As kids, Alita and I grew up riding bus 81 in the Persia community. I can still remember the very first day I got on the bus as a kindergartner. Alita told me to sit down and shut up in true Alita fashion. And she was a first grader, so I considered her to be a bus expert. But I told the selection committee how she not only was a bus driver, she was my go-to contact at the county bus shop anytime I had a concern about a child's transportation, and about how staffing almost every single department in a rural system is hard because people can go out into the private sector and make more money. If I was speaking anywhere else in America today, I would get up and say that I live and teach in an area where the average family income is significantly below the poverty level. If I'm not anywhere else in America today, I'm home. And I want to tell you, I'll just say the hard part out loud. We work and teach and give hope in a very poor area. You are the hope for your students. You are why kids get up and come to school each day. Some of you are even why they dress in a certain way because they want to be like you. Our families struggle with poverty, addiction, and other issues, but yet we still have hope. And we still have hope because of you. You have the opportunity every single day to give a kid hope to go on, to show a kid a different type of life than they were expecting to live, and that it could be possible. Everything that we do matters, and it matters every single day. Those first graders coming in your classroom next week only get 1 year, hopefully, to try first grade. Sometimes we have people who need another year of duty, but ideally they only get 1 year. Those high school students who will fill these spots next week, they only get one chance to get a good chemistry foundation before they go to college. So what we do, we have to do well, and we have to make it count, because literally the kids in this county are counting on us. You are why all of this works. You're why poor kids who've never heard of college understand what college is. You are a beacon of hope for moms and dads who want nothing more than their child to have a little bit easier life than they have. And I stand here and tell you that because I was once that kid, and those parents were once my parents. I also stand before you today as the 2024 National Teacher of the Year because the 13 years I spent in the Hawkins County schools changed the trajectory of my entire life. I hope I've paid that forward just a little. And I appreciate every single one of you for continuing to pay it forward with me. I know that got really heavy, and after we had people doing the worm and the wonderful physicals, kind of sad, so I want to end with a more humorous little story. And this is also about teachers and about how you're so important days you're in the classroom and even the days you're not. A few years ago, I'd been going to a conference the whole week before. I came back on Monday morning. I was teaching second grade. I had the sweetest little second grader run up and hug me, and he said, "I really missed you last week. I'm feeling really good about myself that I'm that great that someone missed me for a whole week." Before I can say anything, he said, "I'm mainly glad you're back because that prostitute you got for our family did a lot of stuff wrong." So, my friends, when you're at school, you count. When you're not at school, you also count. I hope you have a great school year filled with so much joy and a lot of high-quality snow days that fall on Fridays and I thank you for everything you do for your school, your students, and this county. May God bless every single one of you, and thank you for today.